Welcome back. This is Harshaw's Heroes. We're glad you're around one more time to listen to me rattle on about, whatever comes to my mind. We like to talk about various issues that deal with politics, history, and human rights. And we've got a big one for you today. What we're going to look into today is how we have managed to restructure our society over the course of the COVID pandemic. I'm not going to touch on any science at all today. I'm just going to make observations as to how my life, your life, and the lives of those around us have changed due to the COVID restrictions and what has been going on. Before we get started with this, something I've wanted to do since the start of this, the title of the show is Harshaw's Heroes. Each video now I'm going to point out one of Harshaw's Heroes. Harshaw's Heroes was chosen as the name for this video broadcast because a long time ago I got involved in a book called Stranger in a Strange Land. And I found it to be mind-opening in the ways that I started to view society and the world around me. I have found Stranger in a Strange Land to be a marvelous book that has led my life in a lot of ways. Today's quote comes from the author himself, Robert Anson Heinlein. I am free no matter what rules surround me. If I find them tolerable, I tolerate them. If I find them obnoxious, I break them. I am free because I know that I alone am morally responsible for everything that I do. Sums it up nicely. So here we go with another video episode. We're going to talk, like I said, about how society has restructured itself during COVID. Now, my secret lair out in the Mojave Desert sits in California, one of the more restricted areas in the country. It's sort of like being behind enemy lines in a big way. And I'm not talking the politics of it one way or the other, just the control being brought to bear out here is among the most severe in the country. Now, as I have said before, I do not deny that COVID is a virus that is going around that is extremely harmful to the elderly and those with weakened immune systems around us. I'm not going to go into the science at all today. My other basis point is that for your average healthy human being, it does not present much of a danger. So that's where we're going to go from. We're going to look at the restrictions. Let's start with the big ones. Lockdowns. California right now is in mandatory lockdown. Governor Gavin Newsom decided to take it upon himself. I'm going to ban everything statewide. We're locking everything down. You can't go anywhere that you don't have to be at. No indoor or outdoor dining throughout the whole state. Mandatory mask wearing. No socialization with anyone outside of your household. And the rest of the rigmarole that goes with it. I don't subscribe to this. This is a rule I find obnoxious, so I don't pay attention to it. I know that I personally am in good health. I'm not of a compromised immune system. And the imminent danger to me is almost non-existent. There is an emotional and a psychological cost to lockdowns. People who are seniors, who depend upon visitors to come to them and give them a connection to life and to family and to things that are going on in the outside world, are suffering greatly because of this. There's depressions, there is increased suicides. People are just sinking into these horrible depths in their soul right now. Lockdowns provide an additional complex problem to children. One of the last selling points of the public school system was that it provides socialization, how to deal with a group, how to work with a group, that sort of thing. To a certain extent, I will buy into that, except for the indoctrination that goes along with your average public school. They are on remote schooling or video conference schooling or whatever you want to call it in your part of the world. So basically what they're doing now is exactly what I tried not to encourage with them. Just sitting in front of a computer screen for 4 or 5 hours a day to listen to somebody drone on and on about classwork. They're not able to engage with the teacher directly or with the other students. There is no camaraderie, no friendship that is fostered now. So we move on to the actual restructuring of society while we are here in lockdown. There has been so much. Efficiency standpoint, it's probably wonderful on the corporate level. All the office workers sitting at home and jamming away on a computer keyboard. For the corporate world, restructuring is putting on a lot of efficiency. Many office buildings or corporate buildings are being shed for smaller spaces, just the ability of the majority of their staff to work from home. My entire staff could work from home, and I can work from home. What do I need an office building for? I don't. So the cost coming down for corporate on that office building, the savings of not having it, are also enormous. I don't have an office space or an office building. I do not have to heat it. I do not have to supply electricity for it. I do not have to do maintenance on it. You do not need to do any of the normal things you would do to occupy a space because you're not occupying it. This is a tremendous cost savings to business. In the day-to-day world of the small business, this is adaptable but hard too. And we look at the corporate restructure we have now with the corporations enjoying the hell out of this. Small businesses getting wiped off the map. You have to think if part of this restructure isn't an attempt to eliminate independently private-owned businesses in favor of the corporate structure. Death of small business in this country is going to create a larger corporate-dependent, government-dependent class of people within this country. Dependency on either corporatism, government largesse in handing out money, the prescription for disaster for the system that we have had for this country for nearly 250 years. If we are limited to a corporate-only economy or a government services economy, or a combination of both of those, it destroys the will of individual liberty that most people have. When is the last time you were at a movie? Out doing anything. When was the last time you took a pleasure drive just for the hell of it? When was the last time you went to an amusement park? You can't do any of this stuff right now. Who has traveled lately? Sports program or entertainment or leisure programs going on at our local parks. This has been gone ever since the lockdown started. The focus of these lockdowns and the other regulations is supposed to be healthcare. I have to tell you, I have heard stories and I know of people who have had treatment for chronic illnesses delayed, put off, and outright canceled because of lockdown restrictions. This goes for everything from the gamut of people who are putting off surgery. There have been cancer patients denied treatment. There have been people who were on their deathbed who were denied visits from their family to say goodbye. But that a family should be denied deathbed visits for any reason is unconscionable. So here's another one for you. When was the last time you were in your house of worship? Have you been able to freely practice your faith with other believers in your faith in the manner that you have been accustomed to? My guess is no. My particular church has been shut down since May. We haven't seen them except streaming on a feed on Sunday mornings in months. One thing video is not able to provide is the sense of connection and caring and love that is provided within a house of worship. The sense of common purpose of doing for the greater good is denied. That is being denied to us by our governments. Our sole moral arbiter right now is the government. We cannot take the comfort we would take in our church services and our church fellowships because the government has effectively blocked that avenue for us to connect with our humanity and with that greater power that many of us hold dear to. We are now in a situation where, if you're looking at this from a human rights standpoint, and specifically the rights outlined in our Bill of Rights in this country, we're in violation of the segments of the First Amendment that deal with speech. Your freedom of religion is restricted. You cannot practice your religion in the manner that you would choose to. Your right to assembly is curtailed. Unless, of course, you want to have a riot and burn down your city. Then I guess it's okay. We're looking at potential violations of the Fourth and Fifth Amendments. The supposedly proposed healthcare passport. The concept of the three great rights that we have, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, are all under siege at this point. They have the vaccines coming up. There's been talk about making them mandatory. That means you no longer have control of your body. The liberal mantra for years has been, my body, my choice. My body, my choice does not apply only to what goes on in a woman's body. It's what goes on in my body too. And in my body, it should be my choice whether to receive a vaccine that as yet has been rushed to market and is unproven. In short, this bullshit has to stop. It is time to develop in this country a policy that is based on, yes, science, but also on reason. We need to have a response to this pandemic, a response to COVID that is proportionate to threat, that allows us to continue on with our lives with as little interruption as possible, and yet keep the vulnerable among us safe. I can think of no other situation where the changes that have been put upon us, structural societal changes, have been put upon us that would have been tolerated in any other time. It is not the American character to sit and whimper in a corner and die. With that in mind, we're going to close this off for this week. We welcome your comments. We welcome your suggestions. We certainly welcome your views. Spread the word to other friends. We'd like to have them join us too. Let's make a big party out of this. You can also reach us on Twitter. That's also in the logo. Jubal Harshaw 13 on Twitter. And we're active on there pretty much every day. As I wish you every week, we should have freedom for all and individual liberty to each one of you. God bless. We're out of here.
Liftoff of the Delta rocket carrier blast. Gamma Ray Telescope.